All right. So I'm reading in this beautiful book from one of my mentors, and tonight's topic is really about stop judging yourself. It's a short book, and it also rhymes along the same message of how you can change in 30 days quickly, right? So that's what I'm going to talk about. Specifically tonight, I'm going to talk about how you can stop judging yourself and do that effectively, right? Most people think it's going to take a whole century or a whole decade. Well, it doesn't need to take that long. I call it 30 days. So I'm going to tell you some stories, practice my storytelling, and read a bit from book. And if you want to know more, you can reach out and I'll share with you more. It's really cool. It's one of my amazing mentors, which is I will be sharing more about him with you. So here's how it goes. Why should we stop judging ourselves? Because when you judge yourself, too much goes wrong, too much happens, a lot more than what you think. Like, it's not as easy as, you just, make yourself guilty. Your whole level of growth goes down. So this first chapter in his book, he says, stop judging. Judging a person does not define who they are, it defines who you are. So when you judge somebody, it's not them. You're talking about you. So because whatever we push out is gonna come back, and we call that the boomerang effect. There's a whole lesson, or whatever you throw out comes back to you. So when you stop judging others, you will stop judging yourself, and that is the key for the beginning of the change that we so desperately need. Now, why is this the case? When we're born, we're authentic and we're filled with love, without judgment. Like, babies are so cute, right? They're just there. You just want to cuddle them, right? But very early on, we learn to judge. We learn to start. He's like this. She's like that. There's and it starts small and it keeps growing and growing, and it grew on you from when you were a kid, and it grows because of the people around you and those who raised you as well, right? So we actually watched our parents judge other people. I know I have. You probably have too. So they criticize their friends, they criticize the neighbors, and everybody thinks they are better than somebody else. Well, it's not the case. So they criticize each other, and you have to stop that sequence of growth. But it's kind of what happened has happened, and they raised us. I was raised, you were raised, and we learned to criticize from when at a young age. So they didn't mean to teach you that, but they just did what they know how to do. So it says here, they told us what was right and wrong and defined what was good and bad. If we got it right, we got a praise, love, validation, approval. But if we got it wrong, then we were judged, criticized, punished, yelled at, ignored, and in my case, hit, right? So this is talking about his story. I remember when I went to school back in Lebanon, right? We were judged based on the grades. We were judged based on the performance that we did. And if we didn't do well, we had to do extra stuff, extra work, extra homework. We'll get a little more, lashes on our hands because we didn't get above 75 or some number like that, right? So we've been judged since we were kids. We go to school here now, and everybody does, right? We get judged by everybody around us. So it's common to be judged, but it's not the right thing to do. So then what happens? Your inner self doubt starts growing. Self doubt grows within us and begins to judge ourselves. So as you get judged and you take that in, you start feeling this negativity, right? Then we start judging others. We punished ourselves when we didn't measure up, and we looked up for validation from others to confirm we were doing things right. So let's say you go on to do something and you don't do very well at it. You judge yourself. Well, I'm not good at this. How many sports have you tried and you failed and you just never tried again? I know some people would love to play tennis, for example, but they don't do well the first couple times, and then they judge themselves. How many would like to play golf? Right? So we're naturally judging ourselves. It's common to do it, but we don't need to do that because whatever we push out is coming back. The boomerang effect is real. Trust me, it is. So now it says here, this created our fear of criticism, and we began to worry about what others thought about us. Why do we all care so much about what others think of us. It's crazy. Like even people that you don't care about, even people that you don't know, even people that they're not going to mean anything in your life. They're not going to pay your bills. They're not going to help you. They're not going to give you food. They're not going to support you. But you care so much about how others think of you. Why is that there? Well, it's because of this judging from when we were kids. It's because of the judging that we learned and that happened to us as well. It says this created our fear of criticism, and we began to worry about what others thought about us. We don't like what we think of ourselves, and we're afraid of what other people think of us. We're afraid of what other people think of us. And most of us aren't even aware of it. And this happens automatically. We don't even know. So this fear builds up and is fueled further by the social media, the politics. I was just listening to the Trump administration's talk, and there's just so much still going on. Oh my goodness, right? So the politics, the news, all that, it builds up through fashion and style and through television. It's everywhere. So we learn to cover up this thing from a long time ago. And we learn to cover up who we really are so that we don't get judged. So you pretend to be a different person. You pretend to be someone else. You pretend you're playing a different game. You're not authentic you. Ever notice some people are so different at work than home, or they're so different? Why? Because they're playing a game. They're pretending. Then we started to dislike ourselves, maybe even hate ourselves, and we don't want anyone to know what we thought of ourselves. What would they think of us if they really knew what we were thinking and feeling? How many people do you know that if they go to the beach, they would even put a swimming suit on because they're so afraid of what others say about them, what others judge them? No, it's not their fault. That's how they were raised. And we, all of us, including myself, we tend to judge. So they miss out on a whole life at an expense of a life. That's what you got to do. That's what I say. In 30 days, once you start thinking differently, you can switch, you can turn the corner. So he calls it in his book, judgment is a pandemic and it's spreading and it's growing. So judgment is a pandemic. I'm going to put that in the chat here for a second. So I'm going to say what? The topic, right? Stop judging yourself. Upgrade yourself tonight. See, if you understand this concept and you act on it, things will start changing. If you don't do anything, nothing will change. So he said judgment is a pandemic and it's spreading and keeps growing and growing and growing because social media, because of the virality of things, and people like negativity. You ever go to a place where people talking about a positive stuff? It's mostly talking about negative. People like to spread negative news. Try it out one day in your office. Try it one day in your company. Negative news spreads fast. Texting, messaging, posting. So you could be having this right now in your family, right? Your family could be struggling because of this situation. You probably know one or two people that are doing that. So you have to let go. We have to let go. I have to let go. We're all the same, by the way, of this past and how we view ourselves so that we can cure from this judgment problem. So this mentor of mine, he says, I really struggled and got stuck a lot. I really struggled and stuck a lot and got stuck a lot. I judged myself too often. And who wouldn't? I can imagine how you must feel about yourself. You will see stories throughout this book that you may relate to. Don't judge yourself if you do, because that's the thing. Sometimes we read things and we start putting it on ourselves, and then we're judging ourselves. You have to start learning to catch yourself. And the moment you learn to catch yourself, that's when you're becoming more aware. And that's when it kind of gets exciting because then you can stop it, right? Judgment and fear of criticism causes you to worry. How many people do you know that are worried? You're probably worried. Worry, doubt, and fear. I call that the unholy trinity: worry, doubt, and fear. Now, how do you stop that? You have to go to the other side of worry, doubt, and fear, which is faith. So instead of fear, you have faith. They're opposite to each other. How do you get faith? By knowledge, by studying, like we're studying in this book. So the way you get faith is by knowledge, by studying. Solomon in the Old Testament says, in anything you do, get understanding. right? So worry, doubt, and fear leads to anxiety, leads to depression, and maybe even worse. I've seen people who get into a hospital because of depression. How many people are popping pills and drinking, numbing their mind because of this? That's why this stuff can shape your life, because we end up getting stuck. We end up having no job. We end up having stuck at a career. We end up dealing with issues with our families, and then boom. How do I know? Because I experienced that. But luckily, I woke up. I found somebody that helped me. You could find somebody that helped you as well. Anxiety and depression seem to be the new norm. It seems no one knows what to do. Pills and counseling have become the go to remedies, and they aren't the cure. Mental health awareness is a popular narrative these days, but it just brings attention to the problem, not the cure. We are treating symptoms, not the cause. Judgment is the cause. Letting go of your past and how you view it is the key. Letting go of your past and how you view it is the cure. Learning to like yourself, forgiving yourself, and ridding yourself of worrying about what others think of you is the cure. How many schools nowadays have mental health problem and offices for the kids? And they're kids, they're like teenagers. Like, how is that possible? Should be out there having fun. Instead, there's bullying, criticism, fear, worry, doubt. How many kids don't want to go to school because of that? Mental health is crazy. So much stuff going on. It's a serious problem. Now you can get rid of that by stop judging yourself, by increasing your self-worth, by becoming more aware. And you're probably asking, well, how, Kamal? How do I do that? I'm going to teach you how. Stick around for 30 days. That's my goal, to do a quick video like this and share with you what I do to help me so I can help you. See, if I suffered and struggled, you don't need to anymore. See, when I learned from this mentor, when you study what they studied for 10 years, 20 years, the one I studied, what they studied, like the same stuff for 60 years from the best people in the world. So now I can take what he learned and apply it. And that's the acceleration of results. That's the acceleration of the benefit. So if you realize why you are judged and you understand why you judge yourself, you can let go and be free. Because most people don't let go. How many things are you holding on to? I bet you're holding on to a lot of things that you don't need to. We never forgive, really. We just hold on to it. Now, if you have kids, it's not your job to judge them. Your job is to grow them, teach them, and help them become better. Don't judge them. You have to stop this judging. You have to break the cycle. Your parents and your grandparents and your neighbors judged you. Your job is to break the cycle. You ever know, you've seen people who become rich, right? They now are rich. Their parents were poor. Now they're rich. So they broke the cycle of wealth. Now you have to break the cycle of judging yourself, right? Stop judging others so that your kids don't be judged. You break the cycle. Ever notice people? I mean, I know that because I lived it, right? People are, for generations, very poor. They're poor. Their parents are poor, and their grandparents are poor. They're all on welfare. They're all on these food stamps. It's generational. You know, you can stop that right now, tonight, right? You can stop that behavior so that you stop the passing of this judging. So don't judge your kids. Teach them, mentor them, coach them, inspire them, but don't judge them. We all run the risk of judging our children and spreading the disease. It is a disease. Disease is dis-ease, right? Now, by mistake, I still judge other people because I'm so mentally conditioned to it, but I'm getting better and I want you to get better. That's the difference. After I've been studying this, now I catch myself. And when I do, I stop and I remind myself, oh, okay, we've had this class, we've had this lesson. I shouldn't be doing that. The boomerang effect is going to come back. The boomerang is this little toy that you, as a kid, you throw it out and it comes back. So whatever you send out comes back. It's an example of when somebody pisses you off. How many people have pissed you off? In traffic, at the office, in your home, and cousins, relatives, mom, dad. I don't care. Many people piss me off. Now, here's the thing. Did they piss you off or did you piss yourself off? You see, instead of saying they upset me, say I upset myself from what they said to me. Now, if you don't judge yourself and if you have control of your emotions and awareness, you don't let them upset you. You choose not to get upset. That's the idea. So now there's a cure for this self judgment. There's a cure. You gotta stop it, and you can do it. You gotta do it alone, but you can't do it by yourself. It took me a while to understand that from my mentor. You can do it alone. You have to do it alone, but you can't do it by yourself. So the cure for self judgment and fear of criticism is a three-step process. So here it is. Number one, the first step is to stop judging others. You just gotta stop it. Just gotta stop judging others. The second, it's you gotta stop judging yourself. See, as soon as you compare yourself to somebody else, you're lowering yourself. So you gotta stop judging yourself. See yourself as great, right? You gotta see yourself as improving. You have to feel better about yourself every day. You have to feel better about how you do things and start falling in love with you, with taking care of your body and your mental ability and your health and fitness and food and everything. Doesn't matter where you are. Now the third step is you have to become immune to other people judging you. Like, especially for us, for example, when I post the stuff online, we get all kind of weird stuff. People sending messages, oh, you could be doing this way, and you could be doing, and everybody has an opinion. And you know what the story goes, opinions, right? Like everybody's behind. Everybody has an opinion is because everybody has a behind. You have to not allow this to come to you and hit you in the face. And like, oh my God. And sometimes this comes from family. They love you and they care about you. They don't know any better, but they're judging you instead of encouraging you. So you have to, that's the third step is you have to become immune to the judgment of others. That is big because when you hear something from somebody that you respect, it hits you home a lot more than normal, right? So that's the key. That's the three things. Now, I could say there's a one as well that you got to start treating people well. You got to start treating people with an impression of increase. There's a lesson from one my mentor. It's called the impression of increase. I usually give that for free for many people that are in leadership, masterminding, and I just give it to them because I really want them to treat their team well. I think in the 25 years where I've been in business and still, there was not a lot of good treatment. There was a more, like a lot of structure, a lot of beat up, a lot of toughness that the leaders did not treat their people well. Few did. I say a couple out of the 20 big bosses, but for the most part, they don't. So this impression of increase become important. Everybody that comes in contact with you, they should feel better. Like you should feel better after leaving the session. I'm giving you some wisdom. I'm giving you some experience that can help you get better. You should feel better, right? And if you trust to do that all the time, things will start changing for you. Remember, it's 30 days and it's cumulative. So this is, I did something last night, I think, with a meditation, and now this. All right. So be careful what you send out because it will come back and hit you in the back of your head. It's that simple. You got to make it a habit. You got to send good thoughts, good things. It's called the boomerang effect. So whatever you send out comes back. And there was another session that my mentor was with his business partner. She was struggling, and she sat down and on a piece of paper, right? She told him she's struggling. She doesn't know what to do with her family, and he said, "You know what? Every morning when you wake up, I want you to relax. That's the first step. Second step, I want you to send love. Send love to three people that are bothering you. So that could be your sister, your brother, your father, your mother, your boss. You send them love. And it doesn't make sense because these people are hurting you. These people are messing with your life. These people have probably, took over your property, but you got to love. How does that even work? It's because of the boomerang effect. Whatever you send out is going to come back. Whatever you send out comes back. So send love to three people that are bothering you. And then ask for help, ask for guidance. Spirit, God is going to tell you what to do next so that you can improve yourself, improve your business, improve your service to others, right? Um, and as you do that, what's going to happen, you're going to start accepting yourself a whole lot more. You're going to start raising your awareness, your self acceptance, and you're going to start becoming more loving and more acceptable to yourself, which is other people will start accepting you. Then you're gonna start making relationships better, friendships better, all that what you want. Now, here's the thing. I'm gonna leave you with that. I'm almost done. When we judge others, it's a reflection how we feel about ourselves. So if you see somebody that has things going on, the way they speak, the way they show up, the way they operate, if you judge them, what are you seeing? You're not seeing them, you're seeing you. So you have to kind of purify you, you have to clean up yourself. Now, I'm not talking about judging them just because of their color. If you're white and they're black, if they're black and you're white, and if you're yellow, whatever you're from, right? Don't judge the skin. I'm talking about the language, how they show up, how they speak, how they treat the whole thing. We all have to accept each other, but once you judge others right away, that's a reflection on you. I learned that the hard way. I used to assume a lot of things, and you can't assume this stuff. You have to stop. You have to just make it happen. You got to stop, and you start becoming aware of it. It's a reflection of how you think of yourself if you're judging others, and many people do. That's how they were taught, so that they're going to keep doing it until they learn otherwise. The more you discover there's good in you, the less you're going to judge others. That's it. This is like a disease that you're going to stop. And if you don't stop the disease, guess what? The disease is going to keep passing through you till the end of your life, and it's going to pass to everybody around you. This thing, again, I go back with what my mentor told me. He said, whatever you don't fix in yourself, you pass on to your kids. So you probably have kids, and if you don't, you probably have nieces, nephews, friends, relatives, people you mentor and coach. Whatever you don't fix in yourself, you pass on to them. Now that is big. That hit home. So stop judging others. Stop judging yourself. Start falling in love with what you're doing. Now, this is all good and dandy, but how do you apply this stuff? How can you make this work for you? Now, of course, there's some questions and that you can have, and I can share with you because they were shared with me, and they're probably available online, or you can get the book. But one of the first questions, and if you want the sheet, reach out. We'll send you the sheet. One of the first thing to do on this, the first step is to stop judging. You gotta sit down somewhere where it's nice and quiet and relax, and think and write down what am I judging myself on? What are the things that you judge yourself on? And that could be like maybe the way you look, maybe the way you feel, maybe the way you criticize others, maybe the judging your income, judging your potential. You're doing it for yourself, all right? You just make a list of that thing. I don't know. The list could be one item, could be 10, it could be 20. It doesn't matter. Just make a list. The second thing is you have to pick one or maybe two from that list, right? And decide that you're going to make a practice of letting go of it. You're not going to do that anymore. You're not going to do that anymore. And now, it's not easy. You got to do it by yourself, but you can't do it alone. Now, you can post it. You can have a post-it note say, I'm not judging others. The phone rings and you know who it's coming from. And what do you think? You know it's your boss. You know it's your neighbor next door. Oh, my God. The first thing they're going to say, no, you're judging. You got to stop judging. You got to stop judging. You put a post-it note, make a note to yourself, whatever it is, right? And the third, make a list of people in your life whom you judge. Who do you judge? Do you judge your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, your teacher, your boss? Make a list. Then you pick that one person and decide that you are no longer going to judge them, and practice starting today. I picked, for example, I'll tell you what I did. My oldest daughter, I used to judge her all the time because I wanted her to do well. I was pushing her, and I was trying to help her do well in math and physics and science. Just because I was good, I wanted her to be good. Well, some things are not her thing, but I was judging her as to why not? How come she doesn't know it? So I stopped that. And I got to tell you, within a very short amount of time, within one summer, like few months, she went from being like this on the scale to like that, like amazing difference in grades. Just by the way I stopped judging, just by the way I stopped negative talk and discussing the things that were going on with her grades and stuff. It's incredible. So instead of judging them, you gotta encourage them with you. So these are the three things. If this is for you and you want them in writing, reach out and we can connect and share that. Hopefully you enjoy that. My goal is through the whole month of March is to do something like this, 10 o'clock, 10:15 to 10:30, something quick, to the point, and to give you more than what you bargained for. Hopefully you like it. And I know that you're here for a reason. Now, this might be for you, or this might be for someone else. So, if you like it, great, let's connect. And if you think somebody else can benefit, I would appreciate you sharing that video with them. And I look forward to meeting you in person. I travel a lot. I love meeting people when I travel. So, let me know where you're from and what you're doing, and what's the one thing that you're going to do, because information is available and it's free. And on my, most of my channels, there's everything I've learned about. I give it, it's all out there. Already paid for it, so who cares? But what you gonna do about it? What's the one thing you're gonna apply? Now, if you need help implementing it, that's where one phone call can change your life. That's what I'm talking about. Look forward to speaking with you. Cheers. Good night.